Today on CityCast Portland, we're talking about the possible demise of the psilocybin industry here in Oregon, the legality around the use of AI in Oregon political ads, plus we're remembering Nutmeg the cat, who was affectionately known as the mayor of Sellwood. Joining me today are KBOO News Director Althea Billings and our very own executive producer, John Notarianni. What's up, you guys? How you doing?
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Claudia.
Hello. As our listeners know, I usually kick things off with an opening question, so anyone new to the show can get to know our guests, our vibe, just a little better. And today's is based on the very sad news that Nutmeg, the beloved Sellwood CVS cat, passed away at 19 this past weekend. I know. That's like 100 in cat years, I think. I didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure.
Worked to the end, too. Addicted to the grind, some would say.
Part-time job at CVS the whole time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this is America, you know? No one can retire these days. But you might remember that Willamette Week reporter Sophie Peel nominated Nutmeg to be honored with his own park last month on the show during an opening question. And if you didn't catch the reasons why, Nutmeg, who was dubbed the unofficial mayor of Sellwood, became locally famous for his frequent visits at a CVS pharmacy on Southeast 17th Avenue in Tacoma. To the delight of CVS employees and customers who would bring him treats and fleece blankets for him to lay on, he would roam around the store and its counters demanding pets. The long-haired ginger would also occasionally nap on a computer keyboard on top of a printer. Why do cats love computer keyboards? Like, that's where cats want to sleep, and I don't understand. They're not that warm.
Because they're like a little bouncy. It probably feels fun on their little cat paws.
You think they like the tippity taps?
Yeah, I think they like the tippity taps.
Oh, well, just so check this out. The CVS store manager told Willamette Week that Nutmeg would come in pretty much daily in the evening and then hang out until like 10 when they close. And at that point, one of his owners would come in and carry him home, which was roughly a half block away. And Nutmeg was born under a trailer in Boone County, West Virginia, spent the bulk of his life in Centralia, Washington as an outdoor cat. So his new caretakers, Joe and Gabby Moore, who adopted him roughly a year ago, they just air tag collared him and let him continue wandering around his new neighborhood because they really couldn't hold Nutmeg down. And they would just bring him in at night. And CVS employees and customers are devastated to hear that he passed. And a lot of them in the interviews were just like, we didn't get to say goodbye, which is so sad. The Moores said they were going to hold a memorial service in a few weeks to commemorate Nutmeg and give community members the opportunity to come out and speak and share memories. So if you're part of that neighborhood, know that that is coming. And all of this brings me to my question. Nutmeg clearly became the symbol of Sellwood, even becoming its unofficial mayor. So what would hold that honor in your neighborhood? It doesn't even have to be an animal or even a person, because in St. John's, it's just the bridge for sure. If that bridge went away, that's our entire personality. What about you guys?
First off, rest in peace, Nutmeg. If there are any city power brokers out there listening, like Nutmeg Park, it's right there for you. Make it happen. So I live in Humboldt. I thought about this for a minute. I don't think that there is like a similar iconic living being in my neighborhood. But I think for me, it has to be the billboard outside the Florida Room. Florida Room, a bar on Killingsworth, and they have like one of those billboards outside where they can put up messages. They're all archived on Instagram if you ever want to go back and look at them. But like, every time you drive by, it's something new. There's like birthday messages for regulars. There's like silly stuff. Like at one point it said, our fluoride is gluten-free, or just dogs are cool. But they also have like really pointed messages sometimes that sort of speak to what's going on in the community. A couple of months ago, they had one that was just, yes, queens, no kings. They put up stand with PCC staff and support staff when they were negotiating a contract. And then at one point it just said resist. So yeah, I think by far the most iconic thing in my neighborhood is that billboard.
That is the perfect pick. I 100% agree. That is it. What about you, Althea?
Well, I was thinking about the Central East Side area because that is where KBOO Community Radio is located. It's where I spend the lion's share of my time. And I was a little bit trepidatious about picking something just because I feel like whatever you say is controversial. Nutmeg is so beloved that like you can't argue with that. But I was thinking about the murals down on Produce Row. Have you guys been down there? It's kind of this like industrial area. It's also right by the skate park under the Burnside Bridge. So that area gets like a fun mix of skaters and giant trucks coming to like move New Season's groceries and stuff like that. But there's a thriving sort of mural graffiti thing happening down there that I recommend, a little cruise through. Why not?
I know the area you're speaking of. Is it like underneath the Hawthorne Bridge and stuff?
It's like between the Morrison and the Burnside Bridge, and it would be west of Grand and MLK. These murals have been around a long time, but they've also sort of grown out of that area, I think, as well, to some of the other buildings in our neighborhood.
Nice.
Yeah, totally iconic part of that neighborhood, for sure.
Well, guys, I appreciate your answers. Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, John is going to talk about a kind of newish Oregon law that will probably get put into use a lot more once election season comes around.
Bikes with Mikes.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Bikes with Mikes. Mike, we got a listener question. When I'm driving, how much space should I give a person on a bicycle when passing?
Well, Mike, that's a good question. When you see a rider, slow down and give them plenty of space.
Yeah, it's called fall distance. Picture their total height, bike and all, and give at least that much space in case they were to fall.
Totally, Mike, and only pass when it's safe. It's not worth risking someone's life for.
Well, that's it for today. Remember, life is better when we roll together.
A message from 2 Mikes and ODOT.
Summer in the Pacific Northwest is peak berry season, and the bakers at Grand Central Bakery are inspired. This year, they're making a new pastry, a brown butter almond tart with fresh strawberries. It has a butterscotchy shortbread base made with Salish Blue perennial wheat flour from Chimicum Valley Granary, and it's topped with sweet local berries from Hayton Farms, a 5th-generation family farm in the Skagit Valley. Grand Central then takes all of these locally sourced ingredients and bakes it all into these delicious tarts. They've been a local and independent bakery here since 1989, and every time I've been there, everything has been good. They really don't miss. Mother Nature decides when the berry season ends, so visit soon to find them. You can order online for pickup at grandcentralbakery.com or at their 4 neighborhood locations in Burien, Eastlake, Wallingford, and Wedgwood.
All right, John, what is going on with this Oregon disclosure law?
Oh my gosh, get ready to get really upset. I think we can all agree that AI, and particularly AI political ads, are like one of the most dystopian features of modern life. Yeah, and shout out to Dirk Vanderhart at OPB, who's done some great reporting on this. You think about like just the ridiculous stuff that you've been seeing put on Twitter by different politicians that are like clearly fake, but often like offensive and tasteless, that have been made with like video AI programs. In addition to just being really annoying and often gross, like there is a real risk that these things could mislead voters, right? You make an AI video of a politician saying something that they didn't say, that could really mislead people. So Oregon passed laws about this, regulating disclosure of AI-generated ads back in 2024. The law requires disclosures that depict, quote, real individuals doing or saying something that never actually occurred. Seems like a very reasonable law, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, of course. Well, it was just put into effect in 2024. The first real test is underway. Thank you to Jonathan Lockwood. This guy is a former Republican legislative aide, also kind of a professional edgelord from what I can tell.
Can you explain what an edgelord is to those?
Edgelord is like internet speak for somebody who just like talks a lot of shit online and like is sort of like an online troll who just sort of says provocative things to get a rise out of people on the internet. This guy had been a congressional candidate in Oregon's 5th district. That's like a chunk of the Willamette Valley, south of Portland, down to Bend. This is an area that is currently represented by Janelle Bynum, which we will come back to. Lockwood lost in the primary, so not even really running for office anymore, lost to the Deschutes County Commissioner Patty Adair. But in the midst of this fledgling campaign, Lockwood put out multiple AI-generated campaign videos on social media, attacking Democrats like Janelle Bynum and Governor Tina Kotek. And they're just gross. One of them, I'm just like so upset even trying to explain these things to you guys. Like, check this out. One of them had Janelle Bynum giving keys to a drag queen to a girl's locker room and saying, "Don't let me down," which is just like, oh, what? So nasty. Another one that is just like ridiculous had Janelle Bynum and Tina Kotek participating in what appeared to be like a satanic ritual. Their eyes are like glowing red and they're chasing children. I mean, these are just short little clips and they're ridiculous, but like they're so ugly. And people are saying like, he didn't disclose that this was AI, so this opens up potential legal proceedings, could, result in up to $10,000 in fines if this law is carried through. But there are real concerns about like whether this qualifies under the laws it's written. So right off, like, what are you guys feeling about this? You both look kind of grossed out right now.
Well, the fact that it's even a question like, oh, does this law apply? Yeah, it applies. Because I do feel like there are people gullible enough to see something like that and maybe not fully believe, but just be like, see, this is true. And I don't know. Like, what do you think, Althea? Am I just assuming the worst?
I mean, there's some sort of middle of the road take that I think is like, well, this is obviously AI. People will obviously know that this is fake. And yes, kind of. I agree that there are people that are gullible enough. But what matters more is how it makes people feel. Like you might see that. And if you already didn't like Janelle Bynum, and if somebody comes to you and they're like, that was fake, she wasn't actually performing satanic rituals with the governor and chasing children around, you're going to get the response that is, well, yeah, but that's like, that could happen. It could be real, which is such like a thought terminating cliche, by the way. If you're saying that in your real life, reassess. Yeah, but that could be happening. It's not happening. I wish that the law went further than this. Why are we like that we're allowing AI to be used in campaign ads, I think is troubling. I mean, Oregon campaign spending is already mega out of control, even by U.S. standards. So just allowing even more cheap slop to gin people up seems bad to me.
Yeah, I mean, and the argument that Lockwood's defense is making is like, he's arguing that these videos were obviously so exaggerated and that no reasonable person would believe that they're real. Also that they qualify as satire or parody under existing law, which is just like such a slimy, like stupid, upsetting argument. I mean, it's the same argument that the Trump administration has made with some of the heinous things that they posted online. But yeah, that's the argument, like, which, even in cases of defamation, in cases of libel or slander, there is this sort of like parody carve out. But like, I think that it's a law that sort of imagines that everybody is like acting with good intentions, and that is clearly not the case here.
Yeah, I feel like all laws made by Democrats are under that basis, and that's why they're always wrong. Let me say that again. Not wrong, but like they don't fully work. It's because Democrats are just are just from this world, and I get it. I'm from that same world where I'm like, but someone wouldn't. But someone would, though. But someone would. I just wanted to say that I get the satire, but when it's your actual face, when it's your actual body, it's so creepy. That to me, like I was thinking of like South Park. Like that's clearly satire. That's clearly not the person. But when they're like taking your very likeness and your body movement, everything, that is like, that's satanic. Like, I'm just like, that is some magic voodoo.
Yeah.
I don't fully understand, and I'm so freaked out it exists. And like that in itself should be illegal. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, and like to what Althea was saying, I think that this is just a place where we are in uncharted waters legally, where like you draw a political cartoon, it is clear that it is a cartoon, but like we are humans, like we respond emotionally to things. And if you see someone's physical body performing an action, even if on a logical level, that is an AI generated video, like that will influence you. That has the potential to influence you in ways that are really unfair and like, to my mind, actually defamatory. So like, I'm really wondering, like, maybe as the AI law is written, there isn't a case here, but like, I think that there's a real space for defamation when it comes to AI use that isn't explored. That if there are any brilliant legal minds out there that understand these laws better than I do, hit me up. I'm curious, like, what sort of a case there might be under like a libel or slander law.
We do have a listener that will probably email us about this, and I'm very excited about it. Well, I wanted to share a clip that had some AI. It's like an AI political ad from Spencer Pratt in LA, but it was so nasty that I decided against it because it's gross, you guys. Like, it's not just like politically I'm like not aligned. It's just gross. Like, they're saying gross things. It's creepy and weird. And like, that's how messed up these AI ads are that even in jest, I wouldn't play it on the show. And we curse a lot on the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not
No AI needed.
No.
Yes.
But that's how bad these ads are that I'm like, I don't even want it on the show. It's just heinous. But yeah, check them out for yourself and rot your own brain.
I thought you said they were heinous. You're telling people to go look at them now? Actually, guys, let's have a bigger conversation. Dig in.
If you want
Where could this ad be
more
better?
rage fuel for your Tuesday morning.
Let's start training these AI models.
Go watch them. Feel dumber, because I sure did after watching them, and get back to us and tell us if legally we have a defamation case in our hands. Oh, well, thank you, John, for looking into this. Let's take a quick break here, and when we come back, more bad news for our psilocybin industry. If you're looking for a slower summer pace, Freem Family Brewers has a spot where you can actually pull up a chair and stay a while. All their award-winning beers brewed over in Hood River are ready for pouring just 30 minutes away in Milwaukee. And on tap right now is their Tropical Hazy IPA, which tastes like sunshine in a pint. Think mango, passion fruit, and pineapple minus all that typical IPA bitterness. It's a surprisingly easy drinking IPA that even your lightest lager-loving pal would actually like. Taste it for yourself at 10722 Southeast Main Street in Milwaukee. They're located inside an old firehouse and have a really nice outdoor patio. To check out their full tap list and food menu, head over to freembeer.com. That's PFRIEM beer.com. Althea, why is it whenever I hear about Oregon's psilocybin industry, it's always just a doom and gloom headline? I've never heard just like, they're doing great, everything's awesome.
I think even the positive headlines are sort of like, and they're still doing it, and maybe it's good that they're still doing it. It's always so tepid, any kind of like, I mean, I think people are getting good responses from doing the therapy. You're not hearing like horror stories, but you're not hearing, wow, booming industry, everyone takes shrooms and isn't sad anymore. Mostly because they can't afford it, I think is what is happening here.
Yeah, but like, why is it that no one can afford it? I mean, there's got to be a reason, Althea.
There sure is. And thank you for bringing that up.
Smooth intro.
Smooth. Okay. Okay. So even before a recent announcement from the Oregon Health Authority, the psilocybin industry, the legal therapy, taking shrooms, fixing your brain, is under pretty tight regulations and really tight margins. This is something new that Oregon invented off of that 2020 ballot measure that was passed by voters, right? And service centers opened in 2023. But because psilocybin is still federally illegal, there's a whole bunch of sort of backdoor things that make it really difficult to operate one of these businesses, whether that's figuring out your banking, your administrative costs, your insurance. They have to have like a 200-pound safe. The facilitators have to go through 128 hours of education. That's just the world that psilocybin therapy in Oregon lives in. And so trips, if you're going to get this kind of therapy, is usually somewhere between $850 to $3,000 to have this happen.
That's out of pocket.
Yeah. Aetna's not covering it yet.
And what if I told you, take that, double it, and give it to the next guy? But the next guy could be us. Because the new thing that's happening is that the Oregon Health Authority is basically trying to double every fee that they take from the industry. So that's service centers fees, instead of being $10K, are going to be $20K. Facilitator fees are going to double. They're basically planning to delete the fee sort of reductions for nonprofits, for veterans, for low-income people that had a carve-out. So there's worry, basically, that this could kill this burgeoning mental health therapy industry that we built here in Oregon just a couple years after they've gotten started. So I'm relying on reporting here from Jake Thomas at Oregon Capital Chronicle and also Andrew Schwartz over at Willamette Week. We're looking at this. And it puts service providers, people that really believe in this as a transformative therapy in a tough position, because they are just facing something that is too expensive for it to be meaningful to people, to even get people in the door, let alone being able to turn enough of a profit to keep going.
Well, what's the reasoning behind OHA being like, we're going to double everything?
Oh, right. They're broke. That would be why. They're broke.
Okay.
So the way that the ballot measure is built, it's not just cruelty from the OHA or something like that. The way that the psilocybin therapy is structured in Oregon is that it doesn't rely on taxpayer money. It relies entirely on fees. And because of everything being more expensive, those fees have to go up for the state regulation to continue, basically. That's what they're saying. And part of this is also that Oregon Psilocybin Services, which is like the branch of the OHA that runs this, is going to merge with the medical marijuana regulator to try to cut some costs, to try to put the stuff that the feds don't want you to have under the same roof.
We've been sort of talking about the psilocybin industry since it started. And in this round of reporting on it, I sort of had this revelation, which maybe the rest of you were completely already aware of. But in case there's any dum-dums like me that didn't piece this together, I was like, why is it so hard for psilocybin and in a way that it doesn't seem to be for cannabis? And I was like, oh, because there isn't a retail component. Mm-hmm. There isn't actually like person-to-person sales of this. So they basically need to build an entire infrastructure for like a medical program and all of the regulations that go into that, all of the administration, all of the oversight that goes into that. But all sorts of healthcare relies on some sort of marriage of like insurance and government money, et cetera. And this all needs to be funded by the individual people that are using it. So we're trying to create basically a sort of shadow healthcare system with none of the revenue models that healthcare systems usually rely on. And that's why this is such a crisis.
What I'm hearing, John, is that you're saying in order to save our psilocybin industry, we just have to go retail. That's what I heard.
I mean,
I think we need to start selling. Remember that store that opened up? I forget what it was called.
Shroom House. You're proposing Shroom House 2.0, sponsored by CityCast Portland.
She's our last
new
hope.
Revenue stream for the podcast. Hey,
No, it's going back to psilocybin.
It's going back to the people.
It's going back to the people, John. I feel like that's our last hope is Shroom House 2.0.
Well, that's another problem with this, right? Is that trips through the legal mechanisms that Oregon has devised are pretty expensive. So that means that the clientele has skewed wealthy white for the most part. Mm-hmm. And so that's one avenue to take it. Or there's an existing underground trip sitting system, that would cost far less. And people rent out an Airbnb for the weekend and people from out of town come and do it. The legal providers are also competing with the underground version of this that has existed prior to the ballot measure. And I think something about this, John, is that I think it's similar to when medical marijuana was first coming online with how tightly controlled it was. Yeah. But not having the retail component, I mean, that's a huge part of it. Like legal weed was a cash cow for so long because people really wanted it. And maybe psilocybin wouldn't have that same kind of market, but certainly it seems like there's a strong case to be made that it should be incorporated into the behavioral health system and into, whatever we have built in the state for health, just because more and more evidence is coming out of what a powerful therapy it can be. And it's something that's so inaccessible.
It's interesting thinking back again to when this law was being debated and ultimately passed. I remember there was a lot of discussion among people who were practitioners of this before it had been given a legal framework that were really hesitant because they had said, this isn't a medical commodity. This really is a sort of important, deeply meaningful spiritual practice. And to commodify it, to turn it into a product that can be bought and sold like American healthcare would sort of destroy the spirit of it. And it's interesting to see that hasn't exactly happened. It is struggling financially to exist, but it hasn't grown into this like massive economic boon that the people who, like you said, Althea, underground practitioners that are still out there were really worried about.
Well, that is a bummer to hear, Althea, because, I want industries to do well in Oregon, especially an industry that was really making Oregon kind of different from the other states, was making us a destination of sorts. And other states were actually kind of looking at us like, okay, if they make this work, we could make it work. It doesn't seem like it's working. So I don't know what this means for the future of, psilocybin in medical uses in other states. I don't know, unless somebody else like Maine or somebody is just like, no, this is how you do it. Because the idea of, John's like, no, it wouldn't be Maine.
I'm just like, the other Portland is what my brain was.
You think they can hack it? Where are your loyalties?
That's what I was like,
smirking.
what if the other Portland? John got real upset. You couldn't see him, but he was like, how dare you bring up Maine? Yeah. I hope the industry doesn't implode. And I mean, OHA should know what they're doing. Like, if they know if we double all the fees, it's already bad. Like, we're going to fell the industry. Like, they should know that's what's happening. Can
I say one thing about that? What OHA said about this, especially in regards to the fee rates that low income, nonprofit and veterans were facing. So they're looking at cutting their reduction and then also doubling it. Like, their fees are going to quadruple. And OHA just in their notice is like, yeah, so we acknowledge that that's going to be really bad. And that's just kind of it. There's not like, oh, sorry, or like, we thought about how to not do it and we only want to, triple it, not quadruple it. It was like, nope, we know that this is going to be tough for you guys. It's like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well,
someday we'll get a good mushroom headline.
Yeah.
Put it out there.
Fingers crossed for a good mushroom headline. Well, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you going through some of these headlines. It's always a pleasure to host you both. And yeah, we'll see each other, I guess, next week.
Yes. God willing. Don't put that
That was AI. FYI.
That was AI.
I ate Althea to say that.
Claudia is the best podcast host. That's my AI voice.
God approves of CityCast Portland.
AI. That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, share it with a friend, leave us an awesome review, and don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Portland neighbor. Just visit membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.